to roll up on him, and I want Gunther to say, people like you don't deserve a chance at my title.
Oh my gosh.
And people,
Yeah, see, these dudes simping like crazy because that's been done before. Triple H did it with Booker T back in, was it 03? When they were getting for the WrestleMania match for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Somebody like you doesn't get to be a world champion.
While I am happy for Bobby and Shelton Benjamin winning a spot on a prominent wrestling company, Shelton Benjamin's been there for a few weeks at this point, he and MVP. So while I'm happy for these guys, let's just go ahead and get the facts out of the way. BDC failed in TNA. It fleshed out. They were together for way too long, and by the time they split up, nobody cared. But during that time, people still cared about Bobby Lashley when he was in that world title run in TNA, in Impact. He has some pretty good feuds, too. Mr. Kennedy, Drew McIntyre, all those guys. But let's go over to WWE, to the Hurt Business, which was pretty much the same group, minus, obviously, Kenny King. And you added a couple more guys. The Hurt Business, I don't want to necessarily say that they failed as well in WWE, but they didn't become what they were supposed to become. I mean, let's just be real. New Day was more successful than the Hurt Business overall. And then Bobby Lashley wanted to come out not too long ago and say that he felt like the Hurt Business, or that he felt hurt from the Hurt Business not being rewarded for its work during such a dangerous time during the COVID era. Now, let me say this. I thought Bobby Lashley was a Trump supporter. I thought Bobby Lashley was a man. I thought Bobby Lashley was a guy of humility, a guy of honesty, and a guy of respect. But the fact that he's going to say that it was kind of a spit in the face that the Hurt Business wasn't rewarded, wasn't rewarded for working during a dangerous time in COVID. What was so dangerous about working during COVID? Please tell me. Please tell me, Bobby. What was so dangerous about wrestling in front of an empty arena during COVID? Now, after you answer that, answer me this. What makes you think that you should be, quote-unquote, rewarded for anything, especially in the wrestling business? You've been in the wrestling business almost as long as most of us have been alive that have been watching you. How in the actual fuck can you sit here with a straight face and actually say on a podcast, oh, we should have been rewarded? It was kind of a spit in the face that we weren't rewarded for what we did during COVID. Fam, you should be happy that you were even on TV during COVID. And by the way, post-COVID, in the WrestleMania where all the fans came back, you walked into WrestleMania as the world champion, the WWE champion, fam. And successfully defended your title at WrestleMania. Post-COVID. Now again, he is saying the Hurt Business, yes. But the Hurt Business never worked. Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin as your lackeys didn't work. Maybe to y'all, and maybe because it was COVID and it was a rise and all other stuff. Yeah. Maybe in a sense, it might have worked. But in the long run, it would not have worked. It didn't work. Not even remotely, Bobby. You became a 2-time WWE champion after COVID. So again, I'll give you a little bit of grace because he's saying the Hurt Business as a group wasn't rewarded. But this is a guy that knows how the business works. Almost entirely, because he's been to every single company after starting out in WWE 20 years ago. So again, there's a couple red flags that AEW has inherited with this group. And none of it being their age, by the way. MVP, who came out not too long ago. This is an article from almost 2 months ago. MVP on whether Triple H is racist and the Hurt Business's future. And these are the same guys that that same quote that I gave y'all from Bobby Lashley about him being butthurt and it's a spit in the face and all that other shit. This is the same people, the KNS WrestleFest, whatever. So it's the same, this is the same people. Now this is coming from CageSideSeats.com. But MVP is now listed as the alumni in the alumni section of WWE.com. Another reminder that MVP's latest run WWE ended last month when his contract expired. So that would have been August. So his contract expired in August. Before we knew that, MVP turned heads with the comments he made under an Instagram post about the faction he led on and off in WWE from 2020 to 2022, the Hurt Business. In those, he claimed the company's chief creative officer, so basically Triple H, requests to reform the Hurt Business, and affirmed an issue a follower had with how the WWE books black wrestlers under Triple H's leadership. This is the big problem that I have with this narrative, and it's been one for quite some time. It was a narrative under Vince McMahon, and I brought all the receipts. A lot of people brought the receipts, and we said, "Hey, fam, all this race bait shit, get it the fuck out of here, because we ain't playing that." Triple H took over, and people tried to do the same thing. And Triple H even doubled down on giving us even more black wrestlers, which, again, half of them, I think, shouldn't even be on the TV yet. Javon Evans, Jade Cargill. But I'm thinking that, with some of the partnerships that WWE has and some of the people, or some of the sponsorships and shit like that, and people that back them, such as Disney, and they are in bed with Netflix, deep in bed with Netflix, and we all know how Netflix works. So I'm pretty sure all the DEI stuff, all the DEI BS, it's not going to go anywhere. So we're going to continue to get the Javon Evans of the world that are going to botch in the ring with Randy Orton on the finishing move. You're going to continue to get the Jade Cargills that are going to be handed titles, handed matches, handed opportunities, and they still are proving to the world that they cannot wrestle and cannot follow simple instructions. But nonetheless, some took the comments as MVP saying that Triple H is racist. And yeah, I took those as well, because you wouldn't say shit like that if you weren't insinuating that somebody's racist. But I digress. He addressed his statements and how they were received during the virtual signing with KNS WrestleFest recently. It made the rounds that MVP said that Triple H was racist. I never said that word. I never said that. Now, my opinion about how he looks at talent of color, that's a different conversation. But I never said the man was racist. Hulk Hogan is racist. He said it himself. But as far as Triple H, I don't know that he is, and I don't know what his motivations are. But I never said that he was racist. So he wanted to double down and triple down on the fact that he never said Triple H was racist. He never used the word racist. However, he wanted to come out and insinuate that Triple H, he has an opinion of the way Triple H looks at the talent of color. So just off the top of the dome, just from the dome, I'm going to just go off a list real quick, just in my head that I have of niggas that Triple H has really put a rocket ship on their back and let them go to the moon. The first one being the one that's not even there anymore, Ricochet. The second one being Velveteen Dream. You guys remember this guy? And let's not forget, during 2020 and 2021 and 2022, guess who was in the room? Triple H. So during the handoff between Vince and Triple H, obviously Triple H was in that room all those years. So yes, MVP, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander, Omos. Guess what? You got Triple H to thank the fact that he kept y'all on TV as long as he did. Now, let's go over to the women. Bianca Belair. You want to talk about that one? Jade Cargill, who I just mentioned. Doesn't even deserve to be on TV, but guess what? She's on TV and winning titles. So MVP still looks like a goofy-ass race-baiting hustler, man. That's all he is. That's all he's been since he's gotten out of the ring. I don't know where this ends, to be honest. I really don't, because you've had the Teddy Longs of the world that have said a lot of things. This person's racist, that person. Like, I just don't understand it, man. I've been around actual fucking racists before. And even then, I'm not sitting there crying, this person's racist, this person's racist. Hey, guys, he's holding me back from this because he doesn't like black people. No. I moved on about my fucking day. I said, hey, you could go be racist over there. I don't give a shit. As long as you don't affect what I got over here, and you don't keep me from doing what I need to do and what I want to do, I don't give two shits who you hate. You can hate me all day, fam. But for some reason, when these guys don't get the opportunities that when shit doesn't go their way, what's the first thing that they do when they get released from WWE? What's the first thing they do when they get released from AEW, or they're not getting booked right in AEW? They start tweeting out, Tony Khan is racist. Now Tony Khan has inherited this problem. TK has seriously inherited another race baiting problem. And if you don't believe me, time will tell. What happened when Leo Rush was in AEW? Now he's getting booked consistently in AEW again, but there was a couple years where he wasn't, right? We know the reason why. I did a whole video about it. When Big Swole was on her way out, Cedric Alexander's wife, when she was on her way out of AEW, what was her big thing that she was crying about? And we never heard from her ass again. But they're going to continue to run with this fucking narrative. And thanks to the MVPs of the world, guess what? They get released from the company and they start spouting out all this race baiting BS. And then they go over to AEW, and guess what? What's going to happen when they're no longer booked on television? What's going to happen when MVP is no longer featured on television for 2 months? They're going to start yelling the word racism. Then probably, I wouldn't put it past MVP to start leaking DMs and shit. Like, he's that kind of guy, it seems like. He also addressed the Hurt Business future post WWE now that he and Bobby Lashley have joined their former teammate Shelton Benjamin in free agency. The Hurt Business is dead, and it was killed off by the owners, by the powers that be at WWE. But I can say this myself: Bobby Lashley and Shelton, we're talking amongst ourselves about what we want going forward. I'll just say, stay tuned, stay tuned. Me, Bobby, and Shelton have been talking about what we want to do. And again, I'll say, stay tuned. All right, man. So we go from one article to another. So we already talked about the MVP thing. Let's talk about some receipts real quick, okay? So y'all know how I am when it comes to these quote-unquote journalists, right? These sports journalists are a fucking joke. But these wrestling journalists are even more of a joke. You know, the Fightfuls of the world, Dave Meltzers of the world, all those, yeah, they're a fucking joke. Not real journalists, but nonetheless, let me go ahead and just give you guys a little receipt of how Triple H deals with this nonsense.
The Elite in the last 3 cards, there was no black women wrestlers on the Bad Blood card. How do you gauge between making sure that there's representation and making sure that there are wrestlers that get opportunities that are deserved?
I see everybody gets the opportunity. Like if I don't see the difference in anybody. I don't see the color, I don't see the nationality, I don't see any of it. I just see talent. I don't see the difference between men and women. I see talent. We tell stories with those talent, how they can handle.
This is what I've said the entire time. Triple H has put in a rocket ship. And have I agreed with everybody he's put a rocket ship on? No. Like the Bronson Reeds of the world? No. Jake Cargos, which I've already mentioned twice already in this video? No. But, nonetheless, he has put rocket ships on people, man. And he doesn't care about the color. He doesn't care about your background. All he cares about, are you good for business? Are you best for business? No pun intended. But at the same time, are you good at your job? It's not many people that Triple H is putting out there that cannot wrestle. Again, I've already mentioned a couple of them that can't, that he's put out there, that he continues to put out there. And hopefully they do get better. But right now, they suck. Some of them. Most of them, he's done a pretty good job at. But not once has he ever mentioned color. Not once have you ever mentioned we have a young black man in NXT that's going to do really well. I mean, look at what they're doing with Trick Williams. Even though, again, another guy that I'm not too fond of, but guess what? I like the guy. I fuck with Carmelo Hayes more than I do Trick Williams. But Trick Williams is a bona fide star in NXT, and he's only going to get bigger. But do I think he's a good wrestler? No. Hopefully he gets better. But again, you cannot blame Triple H and say, oh, there's a race issue in WWE. They're not getting pushed enough. If you're telling me that all these people that he's putting out here aren't getting pushed enough and it's not enough representation, you're fucking blind. And you're not getting paid enough DEI money.
About those stories and how they can represent those stories and how we can bring those stories forward. So, I don't keep track of any of that. I do what's relevant and what is best in the best in storytelling and what's being delivered the best, and then that's what goes. No different than the men and the women who main events, whatever the biggest stories are. That's where we go.
See, Triple H, Angela like a fucking boss, but of course you got people in the comments that are gonna say, "Oh, he was dodging," and "Oh, he was this, all this." Here's the thing, man. Here's the funny thing. Bad Blood, was it Bad Blood that was hosted by, I thought it was the other show, but anyways, one of the pay-per-views, the past couple pay-per-views, was literally hosted by 3 black women. Alright, it says it right here. And it was Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and I think Naomi, but don't, I know it's at least Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, because I remember I had a whole fucking rant about that. But there's so many receipts, even in these comments, of people saying like, yo, fam, Triple H ain't racist. He's done a lot. Look at the Sasha Banks of the world. Even this dude mentioned Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné. Like, bruh, Mercedes Moné, Naomi, the list goes on, man. The list goes on. Carmelo Hayes. And then, of course, you got the people. I don't see color as a wild statement for Paul to make. Shut the fuck up. Oh, man. And of course, you got these people here too, right? Freaking crazy, man. Freaking crazy. Look, I'll say this too. Nothing but color in the right at the end. Well, their fucking grammar's fucked up. But anyways, nothing but color right at the end and the final boss. Can they do more? Sure, but build up takes time. If you want premium spots for people just because of the color of skin, then you are the problem. And that's why I liked it. That's why I liked that tweet. But not just The Rock. Dude, look at all of the fucking bloodline, fam. With the exception of Sami Zayn, of course, because he's not really related to him. But all of the bloodline, none of them are white, fam. So what are we talking about? Again, these stupid-ass questions from these stupid-ass quote-unquote journalists. Or these people that think they're fucking journalists. And they're terrible at their fucking job because all they're looking for is optics. Optics and representation and diversity and blah, blah. It's like, fam, we've already had it. Don't be coming over here to pro wrestling with this BS talking about some damn representation and DEI and diversity, equity. Nah, fam, we've already had it. We've had it longer than anybody else, you dumb fuck. Y'all could stay over in Hollywood with that narrative and all that stuff. Over here, ain't no agendas. You either get a thumbs up or a thumb just down. That's the way pro wrestling works, okay? There is no middle. There's no, oh, we need to have this person in here to represent this. No, nope, none of that. You either have a storyline that sticks or you don't. You're either going to have a good match or you don't. You're either going to have a good feud or you don't. Period. You're either a good character or you're not. You can either wrestle or you can't. No in-betweens. But I'm so sick of this narrative that we have to start pushing people because they're black. Or start pushing people because they're a certain color or a nationality or background. We don't. And as a lifelong pro wrestling fan, I can wholeheartedly tell you, I feel 100% comfortable in telling you this. We don't. We don't need it and we don't want it. I didn't need Booker T pushed because he was black. back in 2003 and 2004 when I was a kid. I didn't need Mark Henry push because he was black back in 2003, 2004 when I was a kid. I didn't need Maven push because he was black back in 2002 and 2003 because I was a kid. I didn't need The Rock push because he was black. And even when I was a kid, I still didn't know that he was black, by the way. I'll just be real. I didn't even know The Rock was even black when I was a kid. But that's a whole nother thing. I didn't need any of that. And as a 30-year-old adult, I still don't need it. I'm good, fam. I'm good with all that. What I want is good storytelling. It's the same thing when I talk about anything else in entertainment. I want to be entertained. I don't want all this BS about, I've never been in a spotlight before, and for me being a 330-pound woman, finally being able to be in a spotlight, and no, fam, you don't deserve it. You didn't earn it. You got pushed in the spot because of the way you look. The fuck out of here. Like I said, man, AEW has really inherited this fucking problem. They really have. So let's go over to Bobby Lashley. And as we're winding down here, this whole pitch that he had, or a couple of these pitches that he had when he was in WWE. So the first one is going on a losing streak, which leads to him overeating and gaining weight. That's not a... Look, that's not a bad idea if you weren't Bobby Lashley. That's the thing. It's like, you cannot look at Bobby Lashley and have him going on a losing streak, first of all. Him overeating and gaining weight and all that shit, again, not really the best storyline for Bobby Lashley. If it was Otis or somebody like that, or maybe even a Chad Gable or somebody, it might work. But you kind of had that with Baron Corbin where he was down in the dumps. He was, homeless Corbin or bum Corbin, whatever, for a while, and then, whatever. Not really feeling that one. Now, I did watch a clip that Karrion Kross was talking about where he said that Bobby Lashley pitched a real fight between he and Bobby Lashley. This one is the only one where I'm like, you know what? I actually fuck with that. I actually fuck with that storyline. If you had Bobby Lashley and Karrion Kross because of the dirt sheets would eat it the fuck up. IWC would eat it the fuck up. That Karrion Kross and Bobby Lashley are fighting backstage. It's a real fucking fight. And the fact that they're already in it, look, man, I fuck with it. I fuck with that one. That's the only one out of this entire list where I'm like, you know what? Bobby, god damn it. That's actually a good idea. And then we hear about the race baiting the race baiting angle with Gunther, right? Let's go ahead. I want to go over to this clip real quick and have Bobby Lashley actually explain it to you guys about this. Because when I first read this, about how Bobby Lashley wanted to have an angle with Gunther and they kind of wanted to kind of toe the line with the race stuff, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. But when I actually listen to Bobby talk about it, I kind of feel a little bit differently. I still wouldn't go with it, but I kind of feel a little bit differently.
I want to roll up on him, and I want Gunther to say, people like you don't deserve a chance at my title.
Oh my gosh.
And people...
Yeah, see, these dudes are fucking simping like crazy because that's been done before. Triple H did it with Booker T back in, was it 03? When they were getting for the WrestleMania match for the World Heavyweight Championship. I know a lot of people reference that, but I actually remember that I was in real time as a kid watching that on Monday Night Raw. And I remember that exact angle because I remember Booker T losing at WrestleMania.
We were like, what do you say? Because we would have toed that line.
Yeah.
Because if you think about the German,
Right.
and then these black dudes and like this, like, is there a little bit of racial tension a little bit there? We didn't have to go there because we would be like, whoa, what do you mean by people like you? He could be like older guys in wrestling or something like.
See, this is the part that I like. So I like the tone. You could kind of get close to that, and then you kind of give them a swerve of like, oh, no. I'm talking about older wrestlers like you. See, I like that angle, yes. But then he kind of goes a little bit more, and I'm like, all right, Bobby. Bobby Lashley's like that. At least in this clip, he's like that one friend that you have that just takes the joke too far. Like, everybody has a joke and they keep adding to it, and then it gets to him, and then he just keeps trying to add to it, and it's just not funny. This is the part where Bobby Lashley is that one friend.
Like that,
like,
but the crowd would have been like, did he say that? And then I was going to say, I think you look familiar, and do one of these like this. And what this is
the mustache.
there it is. Just whatever, but I don't know if we could have went there, but if we could have, that would have been, it would have been nice. But there were so many things.
See, so I'm not going to say that they couldn't have went there. IWC would have fucking blown a fucking lid, which is why I tell them all the time, like, they're not ready for this. I'm not saying they're not ready for the Netflix stuff, because I feel like Netflix stuff is a little bit blown out of proportion. They're not going to get away with as much as you think they're going to go away with because it's Netflix. Maybe some language, maybe some blood and stuff like that. But other than that, in terms of actual promos and things like that, I don't think Netflix is going to be as lenient as people think, and they're going to let them have as much freedom as they think. I really don't. Netflix, and again, just to remind you guys, Netflix heavily censored the Tom Brady roast 2 days after it released, because there were so many complaints of how people were being disrespected during the roast that they went back and censored the bitch. So if you think they're going to censor that 48 hours after that happens live on Netflix, what do you think they're going to do with WWE television? You think they're just going to let people just give them a mic and say, all right, go out there, free reign, say whatever the fuck you want? It's Netflix, baby. Yeah. No, it's not going to happen. Sorry. But to go back to this angle, though, with Bobby Lashley and Gunther, man, like, again, I like the whole swerve part where they're like, hey, you know, people like you know, older guys, whatever. But once you start going through that race stuff, man, it's just, to me, it's just bad for business. Like, nobody wants to hear about the shit. We see it all the time in real life. We hear about it all the time in real life. We hear boy cries wolf, woman cries wolf all the fucking time. Everybody's called a racist. Everybody's called a Nazi. Like, we don't need to see that in wrestling. I'm sorry. Now, let's get to the last part of this.
I'm going to roll up on him.
And by the way, I do want to say that this part probably would have killed Gunther's career, by the way, if you would have insinuated that him being German and calling him Hitler. So that's another thing. I'm not really with that. I'm gonna just be honest. So not only does AEW inherit this problem with Bobby Lashley and MVP, and Shelton Benjamin is no spring chicken, by the way. He's probably older than Bobby Lashley, if not the same age. So, again, like I said, you got Bobby Lashley, MVP, and Shelton Benjamin. I mean, they probably all add up to about 100 and maybe 50 years altogether. Who knows? But Bobby Lashley comes out, this is maybe a couple of days ago, to the same people I was talking about before that I guess he did the podcast with, and says that he believes Omos should be on WWE television, but doesn't see him getting the opportunity. Bobby, for as long as you've been in the business, once again, a guy that has been in the business for at least 20 years, how are you going to have a take as bad as this? My eyes do not deceive me, fam. There's a lot of things that I can be deceived or perceived by. Maybe my opinion can be swayed by. But what I see with my own two eyes, Omos is not good. Now, maybe Omos is in a WWE dungeon right now, getting better, working on his craft. Hopefully he is. Maybe Bobby Lashley has seen Omos since Omos left television. But I can tell you right here, right now, Omos does not need to be on television until he gets better. This dude is hot garbage. Unfortunately, I don't know. The way things have changed, I don't see him having that opportunity. I hope that me saying that gives him that opportunity. But a lot of people haven't had that opportunity, and a lot of people kind of went separate ways with them. So I don't know what is going on right now. Bobby Lashley really thinks that Omos could be great in WWE. They gave this guy a 2-year run, And ever since this dude left, nobody has asked about Omos. Nobody's checking for Omos. Nobody checking for you, Otis. And I don't think they ever were. You had AJ Styles carry an entire tag team championship run with this dude, and they still couldn't get him over. Yeah, I think Omos should probably be AEW bound as well, and then they can inherit that problem too. But this is the last thing I'm going to say about this, because I know I've been going on this long rant, whatever, but look, I'm not sitting here trying to shit on Bobby Lashley and his AEW run and his debut and all that stuff. Like I said before, congratulations. But all of the signs point to this being another race baiting angle waiting to happen in AEW. We already had Swerve do all that dumb shit. I'm be the first AEW world champion. My champion is black. Blah, blah, blah. We've already had that. Now the agenda continues with MVP getting his fingerprints in AEW. And once that happens, I don't know if you're going to really be able to rinse off this stain. So, again, AEW has inherited a world-class champion. Yes, absolutely. And hopefully they don't fumble him. That's problem number one. Don't fumble Bobby Lashley. But problem number two is, well, now they have the same race-baiting issue that they had before with Big Swole and Leo Rush. And everyone else who wanted to cry, racist! Anyways, man, let me know what you guys think. Hit me up in the comments. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. All that good stuff. It's your boy Corn. And I am OUT.